Question 4. Okay, these are the graphs of question 4. Okay, if you compare the equations and see that, for example, the first question, okay, the first question, it is expressed in the form of the factor form, okay, the factor form. So from this factor form, if we were to put it to be equals to 0, okay, we put it to be equals to 0, then we'll be able to find that x is -1, x is -5. So -1, -5. So these two are the points where it cuts the x-axis. Okay, and then quadratic graph, this is quadratic graph, you can see that x power 2. Okay, so quadratic graph, highest power is 2. So a quadratic graph is symmetrical. So if you can find this point and this point which is on the same level, and then you see this point is -5, -1, so the distance between these 2 points is actually a 4. Okay, so when this is a 4, so the center, which is 2 units, so that means this one you move 2 units, this one move 2 units, so this is where the line of symmetry is. So the line of symmetry is this point, is line. So we'll be able to know that when x is -3, when x is -3, you try to put in here, you can see that you have a -4 and then -2 and a 2 multiply together, you get a -4. So you are able to calculate at the point where x equals to -3, what is the y value. So that value is actually the minimum value of y. So we have one more point here. So we have this point, and this point, and if you can try to have a look for the intercept, okay, the y-intercept. So in this case, if you put x to be 0, x to be 0, so you have 5 times 1, which is 5. So you can see that with this 1, 2, 3, 4 points, you'll be able to draw rather smooth curve. Okay, just a sketch. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 points, so you just join these 4 points out. Okay, some of you may say, do I need to take so many points? Yeah, you can say you don't need so many points, but it's good to draw a graph, which these are all the essential points. Okay, those points that are on the x-axis, which are the x-intercept. Those points that's on the y-axis is also a special point, and the lowest point, which is in this case the minimum point, you can also find out the values. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4 points, you can draw very nice graph, and you can know all the information, most of the information of the graph already. Okay, so for example, question 2, you see the first question and the second question, the difference is that this is x minus 5, this is x plus 5. Okay, so when it's x minus 5, the point where it cuts the x-axis will be at 5. Okay, so this is 5 and this is -1. So between 5 and -1, this gap is 6 units. Okay, 6 units divided by 2, so that will be 3. So that means this one move 3 units, this one move 3 units, so 3 units, 3 units, so the center is x equals to 2. So when x equals to 2, okay, when you put in the values of x equals to 2, x equals to 2, you have 3 times -3, so which is -9. So you see, I have this extra point here. I also go and look for where is the intercept by putting x equals to 0, 0. So I'll be able to see that the y-intercept. The y-intercept is -5. So you see, I have one point at -5, one point at -9, one point here, one point here. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. So these 4 are the crucial points. You just join them up. Okay, so this is question 2. Same for the next one. Okay, first look for where the intercepts, the x-intercepts are 1 and 5. Okay, look for where's the center, which is 3. Put 3 in, you get -4. Okay, so this will be the 3 and -4. For the y-intercept, 0, 0 put in, so you have this curve. Okay, next one, question 4D. Okay, x equals to -2, x equals to 7 are the intercepts, -2, 7. Okay, -2 is the negative side, 7 is on the positive side. And then you see this gap here is 9. 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So 4.5, that means when x is equals to 2.5, that's where the lowest point is. Okay, why lowest point? Because this is A determines the way that it runs. So this one, it goes upward. So go upward. So this curve has a minimum point. So when x is equals to 2.5, you put in, so you have 4.5 times 4.5. One of them is negative. So you have -20.25. So then the other one is the y-intercept is -14. Okay, so you have this point, this point, this point, this point. So these 4 points. Okay, then you'll be able to sketch a simple graph. Okay, Now, next one, okay, x equals to x, when this put this to be equal to 0, x will be 2 and 9, say 2 and 9, so both on the right side of the graph, so there's no negative, so 2 and 9, the gap is 7, so midpoint, so at 5.5. So when you put 5.5 into this equation, the first bracket, second brackets, you will see when you multiply them together is 12.25. So this point is at 12.25. Whereas the intercept, y-intercept, when you put x 0, 0, so you're going to get x equals to 0. Wait, x equals to 18, okay? Sorry, y equals to 18. So this y equals to 18, then this point, this point, this point. So again, 4 points joined together. The question only asks for the intercept, the x-intercept, so it's just 2070. Okay, this is a very special one. You can see that this is something square. There's no two bracket. The two brackets are actually the same bracket, which is x plus 7 times x plus 7. Okay, so x plus 7 times x plus 7, you will see that actually they both will meet at one point, which is -7. So this point is very special. Why is it very special? Because there's only one repeated point, one repeated root, we call it. Okay, one repeated. The rest are all 2 root, 2 root, 2 root, 2 root, but this one only one root. So that means when x is equal, when this y equals to 0, x can only be one value, which is -7. And this -7 is that minimum point. And it is also the point that it cut the x-axis. So this is the x-intercept. This is also the minimum point. So this is a very special point because it touches the x-axis at only one point. So that's why you only have this minimum point. Okay, and then if you want to put x equals to 0 into here, you will see that the y is actually 49. Okay, so 49. So this one, you have this point and this point. So only 2 points. We don't have the x-intercept, so we don't have 4 points in this case. So we only have 2 points. So you join this 2 point out, then draw something symmetrical on the other side, and that is your answer. Question is this kind of equation. This kind of equation, you call them the vertex form of the quadratic equation. Okay, so how do you tell it is vertex form? You see, can you look at all these 6 examples and see? Okay, you see the first one, is it perfect square plus something, a perfect square plus a constant, a perfect square plus a constant, a perfect square plus a constant, but this perfect square is a minus of the perfect square. Okay, and then this, see, so can you see it's a square, 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 and then plus something. The plus can be positive or negative value, like see, these 1, 2, 3, 4 are positive value, these negative values. Okay, how do you tell there's negative value? So when it's negative value, your point will be below the x-axis. You see, the point is below the x-axis, the lowest point is below the x-axis. When it is plus something, plus something, plus something, plus something, can you see that the turning point will be at, you see, if this is 5, it will be at 5. If this is 12, it will be 12. So it's back now. So here you see that when this is 5, the lowest point is 5. When this is 12, the lowest point is 12. When this is 15, the highest point is 15. And this is 5, then the lowest point is 5. As to whether it's lowest or highest, how you see, okay, you see, the first 1, 2, 3, and then maybe this question, all these, can you see that you have the square is all positive, 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 right? The square is all positive, right? So you actually can see that the curve, because A is the one that affects it. Okay, so if A is positive, then you get the curve concave upward, right? Okay, you can also understand it this way. See, I have a constant which is -3 here, and now I'm adding something to it, and this something is a square, and something square is a number that is definitely 0 or more. I can never get a negative number from a square. Understand or not? So which means my -3 is going to add something to it, add a positive value to it, or maybe 0 to it, right? So my -3 is going to be my lowest value, smallest value, because at other points I add more and more and more. So this is going to be the lowest. Okay, you see this one also. I have -10, but I'm going to add some positive number to my -10. So can you see that the -10 is the lowest, and the rest are higher than the 10. Okay, so you see the next one, this is 5. I'm adding a positive number to a 5. So my 5 is going to be my lowest value. And then other values are higher than 5. Higher than 5. Okay, so the next one, you see, 12. You see, my values is 12 here, right? But you see, can you see I minus, I take away some positive value from my 12. Okay, so when I take away, meaning what? The value is going to be smaller and smaller, right? So that's why my 12 is the largest. So can you see this graph is different from the other first three? The first three is a minimum graph, but this is a maximum graph. Can you understand it this way? You see also, I have 5. Okay, the value 5 when this x equals to -7, I have 5 here. And my 5 is my smallest value. Why? Because my 5, I'm going to add some positive value to it. So whatever I added is going to give me more values. Okay, so that's why my points are above. So the rest are all above, and this is going to be the lowest. And then this one, the 15, the value 15, I subtract something from 15. I subtract something from 15. So when I subtract something from 15, so my 15 is going to be the largest because I subtract, so the other values are smaller. Okay, so for this kind of question, when it is in the vertex form, you can look for where is the turning point. So you see, this is a turning point, this is a turning point, this is a turning point. Okay, how do you get the turning point? You will put the square value here to be equals to 0. For example, I put x plus 5 equals to 0, I get x equals to -5. Because when x is -5 plus 5, that is going to give me a 0. So that means my perfect square here is going to be 0. So 0 is going to be the lowest. Any other point that you put in is always going to be more than 0. So that means you are adding something to your -3. So you are having all these other values. Clear not? So you see, -5, 10. See, -5, 10. This one, -7, 5. Okay, -7, 5. So -7, 5 is the turning point. And then this one, -7, 12. Okay, -7, 12 is this point. Okay, and so for the others. So are you sure? Are you clear now? When the question is in the vertex form, when the question is in the vertex form, then you are able to find out where the turning point is. So can you see? I find out the turning point. And then you look at all these questions here. Am I able to find out the x-intercept? Okay, am I able to find out the x-intercept? I cannot find out the x-intercept because why? I don't have enough information to give me the x-intercept. Not like question 4. You see, question 4, I can straight away find out where the x-intercept is. But question 5, you see, on my graph, I didn't indicate where the intercept is because this kind of question don't allow me to find out what the x-intercept is. Okay, but it allows me to calculate where the y-intercept is. The x-intercept cannot, but y-intercept can. How do you find y-intercept? When you put x equals to 0, lor, so this will be 25 minus 3, so 22. Lor. When you put x equals to 0, this will be 25 minus 10, so you have 15. Okay, when you have x equals to 0, you have 49 plus 5, so which is 54. Okay, so that's a point where it cuts the y-axis. When x is 0, so this will be 49, but it's a -49. So when you add to the 12, so you're going to get 37, so -37. Is that clear? About the x-intercept, this -5 is a minimum point at the minimum point. So this -5, this -5, this -7, this -7. But he's asking me about why am I not finding the x-intercept? Isn't the x-intercept just putting x to be the whole thing to be 0? I say yes, it put the whole thing to be 0, but this one is square root 3. Square root 3 is not a nice number, so you're going to get decimal. So when you get decimal, so whole thing is not something nice, so I wouldn't go and label. So you can see every question, you see 3, 10, 5, you see all this 12, 5, 15, all these are not perfect square. So when it's not perfect square, I take square root, it won't give me a nice number, which is integer.